but her husband insisted it had all been a dream. It was so bizarre that Alice couldn't tell if it was reality or just a dream. But on that day, she witnessed an even more eerie scene. Margaret was standing on the roof, staring blankly. Alice was about to go up and talk to her when she saw something horrifying.
No.
The sight terrified her. Before she could get closer, a security guard appeared and dragged her away. Later that night, Alice told her husband about what she saw, but he said Margaret had just fallen while cleaning the windows. She'd been treated in the hospital, and she was fine, but Alice didn't believe this lie. She couldn't understand why her husband was lying to her, so she decided to find the truth herself. The next day, she asked her husband to bring in a doctor. While checking her health, she tried to get information on Margaret, but the doctor gave her the same answer as her husband. However, when the doctor turned to grab a pen, Alice accidentally caught a glimpse of Margaret's file. It labeled her as an extremely dangerous individual. This made Alice more certain that everyone was lying. That night, her husband invited guests over for dinner. While they were eating, Alice sat across from Frank, staring at him provocatively. Then she asked everyone 3 questions. First, she asked where everyone was from, and to her surprise, everyone was from Philadelphia. Then, she asked how they met their partners, and the answers were all eerily similar. They all took the same train, with the same details of how they met. Lastly, she asked where everyone went for their honeymoon, and shockingly, they all went to the same beach. It seemed like everyone shared the same memories, but none of them realized how serious this was. To get everyone's attention, Alice told everyone that Frank was doing something to them. She said there was no company headquarters, that the community was just a trap created by Frank to keep them here. Anyone who discovered the truth would be eliminated, and Margaret was a living example. But just as the guests started to wonder, Frank spoke up. He accused Alice of spreading baseless rumors and said she must have a delusion. At that moment, all the guests stood up and agreed with Frank, claiming that Alice, like Margaret, had lost her mind. Everyone got up and left. Her husband was also disappointed with Alice's behavior. The promotion he'd worked so hard for might now be ruined. But Alice didn't care about the promotion. All she wanted was to escape from this horrible place. She told her husband that it didn't matter where they went. As long as they were together, they could live a good life. Her husband was moved by her sincerity and finally agreed with her decision. But when they got into the car to leave, her husband hesitated to start the engine. He began apologizing profusely. And suddenly, 2 security guards appeared and dragged Alice away. Betrayed by her husband, Alice was put on an operating table where doctors prepared to erase her memories. But just as the shock treatment was about to begin, Alice remembered everything. She had once been a brilliant surgeon with a bright future, but her husband was a lazy man who only cared about playing video games. Over time, they grew apart. To keep his wife firmly by his side, the husband applied to join the Victory community. This community is actually just a carefully constructed virtual world. Here everyone can become the elite of society. Her husband was one of them. He first knocked his wife unconscious and tied her to the bed. Then he fitted her with special